Hello, and welcome to the Bluegrass Sports Show, or
We are the BS Show. We are two fat guys talking crap. We are the executives of excessive fat.
I'm Carl,
And I'm Perry.
the animal. And today, we've got a fun video for you. We are going to talk about all this mess that has happened regarding Rick Pitino and the other coaches
And the University of
that
Louisville.
were involved, and the University of Louisville. And to start out the video, I do want to apologize to Louisville fans. And I don't have a deep hatred for Louisville fans like some people do. But he did bring you a championship, but now he's brought serious heartache
What championship?
to the team. Huh?
What championship?
He won 2013, didn't he?
It's not in existence.
Oh, did they take it out?
It got vacated.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they took it
Yes.
out. So, sorry. But so now he's just brought you heartache. But
Let me
you
take-
did, as a fan, when you were watching it, you still had that up moment where you won
Let
the
me
championship.
take over this intro while you sit over there and ponder about championships that don't exist.
Oh, I was trying.
The man
to
who
help
don't
them out.
factor championships into anything don't even know the ones that exist and don't. Okay.
Well,
What we are going to talk about today, he mentioned the other coaches, the other schools that's in this thing. We can touch on that if we want to. I want to talk about Rick Pitino, and I want to talk about the University of Louisville. He's apologizing to Louisville fans and to those true, long-standing
Louisville fans.
Louisville
Yes,
fans
not.
that's actually ashamed of what's
Yeah.
going on right now and have called for this day or these moments, of course, to come
Mhm.
about for half a decade now because they were tired of being humiliated by this babbling buffoon. Those are the fans that I want to apologize
Yeah.
to, and I feel sorry for. The fans
I
that
don't care
still
for the
on
bandwagon ones.
the fans that's still on message boards saying, "Well, you just get waited, it's gonna happen to you next," or "They ain't gonna, it's just all rubber dubba dubba the NCAA ain't said
What?
nothing," or "It's Matt Jones's fault, it's Matt Jones's fault." Kentucky Sports Radio. Those
What?
fans, they're out there.
How?
They are. They just are.
Okay.
Anything that's happened to Louisville in the last half a decade has been Matt Jones's fault, according to Louisville fans. You fans, I laugh hysterically at. But I'll let you get started if you'd like to.
Well, I mean, it don't really matter. All I want to do really was apologize to him. But that's it. I mean, I just apologize to the hardcore fans, like he said, that have watched the team for years, and you are disgusted by what's happening or what has happened in the past. And one thing we talked about earlier when discussing this video, I actually had sympathy for him when he flipped off the Kentucky fandom, because everybody has a bad day, and some of us were being idiots and just yelling, cussing at him. I thought they were throwing stuff at him as well, which he says they weren't. But I had sympathy for the guy at that moment, because anybody can make a mistake. But he should have been fired, to my knowledge, right? I don't know maybe everything he's done, but I do know the big three, which was the flipping off the Kentucky fans, the buying the kids prostitutes, which is amazing, and the the stuff that's happened now. So he should have been fired after the prostitutes came out. That's where I stand on it. But I don't know any of the other little things that has happened.
Well, what today's theme is educate Carl about how terrible Rick Pitino is and
As a
has
person.
been for the University of Louisville.
Right.
Now, what we're going to do, we're going to set a table for Rick Pitino at this point.
Okay.
Kentucky's put on probation. Kentucky shame plastered all over Sports Illustrated. You know, not the death penalty, but as close as you can get to it.
Right.
We're banished from competing in postseason tournaments. We
Right.
have massive scholarship reduction. Rick Pitino steps up and says, "I will bring you back to prominence." Rick Pitino brought Kentucky back to prominence. Whatever Rick Pitino did at Kentucky, I'm forever grateful for. What people need to realize, Rick Pitino done that 20 to 30 years ago.
Yes, different man.
That has no relevance whatsoever on the idiot that he is today.
Right.
Let's go forward to 1997 to where Rick Pitino says, "I'm with the University of Kentucky. I'm the head coach of the University of Kentucky. I'm not going anywhere." And then the next day he's introduced as head coach of the Boston Celtics. Let's go ahead and bypass that. where he says, well, I thought we had the number 1 pick. We had a shot at the number 1 pick. We were going to get Tim Duncan. I couldn't pass on that. Whatever. Let's go ahead and go on forward into the future to where he says, I'm ready to come back to college basketball. And where does he choose to go to whenever he's got a choice of Michigan and Arizona? He goes to Louisville. Kentucky's arguably greatest basketball rival. Not just on the court, off the court.
Oh,
Racial tensions, issues between past coaches.
Yeah.
Just so much more than basketball. He goes to Louisville. Now, Tubby owns him. It's whatever. He comes to Rupp Arena, has a double-digit lead. Patrick Sparks gets fouled. He didn't walk. He gets fouled, hits his free throws. It's whatever. Tubby owns him. Along comes Billy Gillispie. Let's not talk about that. But here comes the portion for which we want to talk about. Along comes John Calipari. At this point, Rick Pitino is completely satisfied with every 3 or 4 years being a relevant conversation in basketball of which Louisville might have a chance. Or Louisville's this. John Calipari brings back to life
Kentucky.
Well, not just Kentucky.
He
brings back to life Rick Pitino. He brings back to life whatever Rick Pitino is as a coach because Cal owned Rick. The success at Kentucky and in Lexington ignited the competitive fires that once pumped through the veins of Rick Pitino.
Right.
In the 90s, whenever he was the best coach in basketball in the 90s. Duke fans are going to yell, you're wrong. Rick Pitino was better than Mike Krzyzewski in the 90s. 100% better. Me.
They were close.
Pitino owned the 90s.
They were close, but I'd give it to Pitino.
Owned the 90s.
I would give it to Pitino.
Cal reignited those flames. Now, with those reignited flames comes the first scandal. Something that you didn't mention.
I didn't.
Have you ever heard of Karen Cypher?
No.
She was a 2-bit waitress at a 3-bit Porcini's Italian restaurant in Louisville.
Oh no, I heard about that.
Yes, this is where he has the affair. He has the affair with the Porcini's waitress, where he under oath says it was 15 seconds of pleasure shot down my leg. Yes, he said that under oath. That scandal alone, being part of where he's being extorted at this point, and that's on her. It's not on him. But he's still put in a situation to where he's representing the University of Louisville, representing college basketball, and he's in a nationwide scandal to where he's in court having to go under oath and talk about this affair he had in the middle of a restaurant.
Right.
Of course, he should have been fired there, and any other coach outside of Mike Krzyzewski at Duke is fired in that situation. But Louisville values winning.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to move on down the line just a little bit. We're going to, I believe this was 2014, maybe. We're looking at where you have Shane Bohannon.
What?
Shane Bohannon. Do you not remember Shane Bohannon? He was on the Louisville's championship team that got vacated.
Nope.
Okay. He and Kevin Ware, all types of off the court issues with Kevin Ware and Shane Bohannon and others that's completely covered up by the university at this point through Rick Pitino and Tom Jurich, the athletic director. Shane Bohannon gets what's the word that they call it whenever they don't give out a time frame for a suspension? You know what I'm talking about, right? He is
indefinitely or something
exactly
like that. Yeah.
Suspended indefinitely. He was suspended indefinitely one day, and then brought back to play Kentucky on Saturday, and then on Monday he's kicked off the team. Rick Pitino. Yes, true story. Rick Pitino, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is just jumping over numerous ordeals to where there's this here and this there. You have the Louisville national media, well, the Louisville local media, I'm sorry, but national media that is based out of Louisville, such as the Pat Forties or the Rick Bozich, that are buddy with Rick Pitino and do nothing but sing his praises,
Right.
and the entire media covering Louisville will not dare step on their toes, because if not, they're completely shut off.
Right.
Because Rick Pitino and Tom Jurich run that athletics department, especially the PR standpoint of it, like a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
If you dared step out against the Czar and his little pumpkin, you were banished. You were blacklisted. As Tony Vanetti. He's a Louisville media member. He went through it. There was many people who were punished and cut off from the university and any access whatsoever because they were simply friends with Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, absolutely. Tom Jurich did everything he could for years to get Matt Jones removed from the radio, or fired from this job or that job, or taken away from this opportunity.
Because he speaks the truth?
And he speaks the truth. And he would tell you what's going on at Louisville, because he has friends at Louisville that will tell him what's going on. Now, they can't come forward about it, but there ain't nothing keeping Matt from doing so. So there's all that. Now, let's go on forward just a little bit more.
Okay.
And we start talking about polls. We start talking about dancers. We start talking about that honey. We start talking about hiring strippers and prostitutes for players and for recruits, underage recruits. Now, granted, the age of consent in the state of Kentucky is 16.
I think that matters that even matters what the age is of the other person too, don't it?
Well, they were over age. They were over 18. To my knowledge,
but that's what I'm saying.
Now, one of them,
it would have to be 18 to 16.
We're not chastising the strippers or the hookers or anything. We're not talking about what they've done wrong. We're talking about what
well, I know. I'm just saying.
They're
in no way is it all right, is what I'm saying.
They're on their own boat out there sinking. But what you have is a situation to where the University of Louisville, Andre McGee and Coach Mike, whoever that is, you have them funding money. For Katina Powell to bring in her dancers and girls to strip and have sex with players and recruits.
Which is amazing. I mean, that is amazing.
A kid that played he went to...
It's amazing.
He went to LSU. Antonio Blakeney, he and his father were each treated with strip shows and sex while on campus that was bought for by the University of Louisville. I'm pretty sure that's who the player was, but he was one that was privileged to this.
Right.
He's come out and talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he was the one who he and his father both got benefits. You're talking Montrezl Harrell, who was a part of this.
Right.
You're talking Russ Smith, who was a part of this. You're talking the only people that's never been implicated in this that was on the title team was Peyton Siva and Luke Hancock, because they wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
So you've got that ordeal to where you've got a prostitute and hooker scandal. The NCAA comes in and vacates all wins for such and such date in 2011 to such and such date in 2014, including a Final Four banner and a national championship banner. The NCAA's taken down Final Four banners before.
Right.
Never, ever in any sport in college history, at least at the Division I level, had the NCAA taken away a national championship. Your head coach, while he was not implicated in this scandal, had members of his coaching staff, which he's responsible for, the overseeing of the program, put you in a scandal to where you lose such and such wins, and you lose the first national championship for the NCAA to ever take down for 2013.
See, I didn't know they took that down.
Yes, the banner was taken down.
Yeah.
So and they're placed on probation. This is after they punished another team. I believe it was the 2015, no, it was the 2016 team. The team that played against Murray and Euless. I can't remember the guy's name. They had two senior transfers that were graduate transfers on that team.
Yeah.
Those the two best players. That team had a legitimate shot to be a 1 or 2 seed in the tournament. None of those players had anything to do with the stripper or prostitute scandal. They don't get to play in the tournament because Louisville decides to do a PR thing and banish himself from the upcoming tournament. Okay? So, on top of that, they get the banner took down. They get probation from the NCAA. Now we get to where we're at now. The FBI comes out and says, "Hi, everybody. We've uncovered the dirty nerdy of college basketball.
The dirty nerdy.
This guy over here has accepted bribes from Adidas to go and lure student athletes to advisors in a scheme to make money off of the athletes. The athletes wouldn't get a dime. They didn't do anything against NCAA rules. They broke federal crimes. This coach over here did the same thing. That coach. But what do we have? We have University 6 and Coach 2, who are not being, and you have company whatever, which was Adidas. They're not being charged by the FBI because they broke no federal crimes. But what you have is wiretap recording, video recording of Coach 2 representing University 6 speaking with a representative of Adidas, which had a special name too, I just don't remember what it was called, saying, "We're already on probation." And this is not quote for quote. This is essentially, I'm paraphrasing what's said. "We can do this. We want to pay for this guy a certain amount of payments. We're going to give him $100,000 to come to University of Louisville. We're going to do it certain here, certain there, certain there. But we have to do it low key because we're already on probation with the NCAA." 1 month after they were put on probation. 1 month.
They don't care, man.
So what happens? University of Louisville and interim president. At this point, the previous president, he's gone because they've got all this other scandal going on with the board of trustees and the Louisville athletic department. They're just massive scandal to where Louisville can't pay their bills as a university.
I didn't know that either.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You've done some serious research.
I listen to KSR. That's all you have to do. You learn all of this. But anyways, you have all these other scandals that's going on. They've lost their president. You've got interim president here, Mr. I think his name is Greg Postal. I think is his name. He goes Postal. He walks in. Tom Jurich, he goes, and this is rumor. It was denied that this is actually what happened, but I think it did. Fire Rick Pitino. No. You're fired. In walks Rick Pitino. You're fired.
Yeah, he lasted, what, 5 minutes?
Each meeting lasted less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What happened with this? Because of clauses placed in each contract, it's not simply, once again, paraphrasing. They were each placed on administrative leave. Rick without pay, Tom Jurich with pay. Tom Jurich is the athletic director.
Right.
He has nothing, he's not on the basketball staff, but he's still the athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
What they're saying in this regards, Rick Pitino has a clause, and this goes back to the previous frickin' president of the university. If there is cause for termination, if Louisville has reason to fire Rick Pitino, he has to have 10 days notice before he can be fired. Okay. Tom Jurich has to have 30 days. So that's why each of them are placed on administrative leave. Yeah. They have each come out and said, we have been fired. The University of Louisville says they've not been fired. That's false reports. Because the University of Louisville knows legally they're screwed if they just break their terms of contract. Mm-hmm. Rick Pitino still owed $20 to $50 million on his contract, depending on which reports you want to read or what terms he would be due to. University of Louisville can't pay its bills as it is. How's he going to pay Rick Pitino the money he's owed?
Right.
So you had that. That swept the news yesterday. First thing this morning, what happens, it comes out, ironically, right at about the same time KSR comes on at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is when exactly all of this broke yesterday. I'm sorry, the day before. It was the day before. All this broke on Tuesday. He was fired on Wednesday.
What day are we on?
We're on Thursday.
Shoo.
All this broke on Tuesday. They were fired on Wednesday. This comes out this morning. Mm-hmm. Law enforcement, and this is, well, the law enforcement actually come out this evening. This morning, you have CBS, the Wall Street Journal, ABC, and other media outlets coming out saying, we're getting reports confirming that Coach 2, who in the listing was labeled to swing the biggest blank of any coach, he has that much power and is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're referring to. Coach 2 is Rick Pitino.
Yep.
It comes out this evening. A law enforcement officer who chose to remain anonymous because he's not authorized to leak this information at this point. A law enforcement officer confirms Coach 2 is Rick Pitino. What you have, and we completely skipped over the middle finger. That doesn't matter at this point. That's just him being Rick. He's being a prick at that point. What you have right now is Rick Pitino, while knowingly his university is on probation, on tape saying, we have to go under the table to pay for a recruit to come to the University of Louisville. We have to do this low-key because we were on probation. What Louisville's looking at now, and I don't think they will get the death penalty, but it's on the table.
Right.
And the exact reason is because you have your head coach of your basketball program on tape essentially spitting in the face of the NCAA.
They don't care, basically.
Exactly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The NCAA come down with an iron fist over hookers. What do you think they're going to do whenever you're on tape spitting in their face and paying for players? You've had two.
It's a bad day.
You've had two top 10 ranked point guards, 5-star All-American caliber point guards in the last 2 days. Both yesterday. 2 of them committed to the University of Louisville. Both have already decommitted. The Bowen kid, Brian Bowen, he's already been placed on leave as well. He's not going to be eligible. He accepted funds to come to college.
Right.
He's not going to be eligible. Right now, practices start in 2 days. On Saturday, University of Louisville don't have a coach.
Nope.
Rumored to be Tom Crean. Please hire Tom Crean. Please let me laugh at him because he's awful. He had an entire career on Dwayne Wade's name. He is terrible. Please hire Tom Crean. Anyways, you have of that mess. All of that mess. Woof. I mean, what you have is the most sleaziest.
Terry, I love you.
You have the sleaziest of the sleazy. Matt Jones has called Rick Pitino the lyingest liar that ever lied.
Okay.
And it's the truth. 100% the truth. He's come out. I am vehemently denying these claims. It is going to be my sole purpose to find the soul who's in charge and whoever made these issues and bring them to justice. Well, grab your mirror, bring it with you, homie, because you, sir, have screwed the pooch. Now, is it theoretically possible that karma will come back and bite us on the hind end? It's always theoretically possible. Let me say this to Kentucky fans right now who are worried with all this FBI investigation going on that eventually they're going to get back to us because they've already called out Alabama for basketball. They've called out Miami's basketball team. Jim Larinaga got fired yesterday, or is going to be fired if he's not been fired already. He's been with Miami forever.
Yeah.
University of Alabama's assistant athletics director resigned yesterday over this. It's happening.
Yeah.
FBI director said, college coaches, we have your playbook. We're coming for you.
Yeah.
I have 100% confidence in Sandy Bell, who is the compliance director at University of Kentucky.
She don't play, right?
No, she doesn't. 100% confidence in Sandy Bell, and I have 100% confidence in the University of Kentucky's dedication with compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the microscope that has been on us for the last 8 years with John Calipari.
Right.
Because you think we haven't been investigated? Oh, man. We've been under investigation since the day he stepped on campus. The reason why you don't hear nothing?
Because they ain't got
There's nothing to find.
They ain't got nothing.
Nothing to find.
Not yet.
Don't say not yet.
Well, I'm just saying, they don't have anything
If something
yet.
happens, so be it. We can't control it.
Right.
What I'm telling you, do not worry yourself about something that you have no control over. There's nothing been given to us to worry about at this point. Situation comes about, we'll handle it then.
We'll deal with it, yeah.
But for now, We have no reason other than to sit back and get ready to chase number 9.
I like it.
What I want to close this with.
All right. I mean, I guess, are we closing?
Well, I mean, unless you have something to say.
I mean, I think you pretty much covered it.
I mean, I've talked for 20 minutes.
This thing that you did, and I mean, I'm fine with it. I loved every minute. But this that just happened shouldn't have even happened because he shouldn't have even been there.
Exactly. He should have been fired after the Karen Cypher ordeal.
Well, that goes back to a person making a mistake. You can see one mistake.
He humiliated
and I also
his
did
family
not know,
and his employer.
Yes, but a mistake's a mistake. I mean, a mistake's a mistake. But you can only second chances don't come around all that much. You should if you make a mistake,
6th, 12th, 13th.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you make a mistake and you get a second chance, you need to do that one true. Because they don't come around all that much. Rick Pitino gets plenty of them, but not now.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. He should have really straightened his stuff up. And I honestly didn't know he was at Louisville at that time that happened.
Yes.
I knew of that situation, but I didn't know the time frame for it.
He's been at Louisville since 2001.
See, it does not seem like he's been there that long.
I know,
but
he has.
So I didn't realize he was at Louisville at that time. But I knew about that situation. But like I said, everybody makes mistakes. But at some point, you're just a terrible person. And that's the point he's at. He's just a terrible person.
Let me what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and give my closing.
Okay. Fine. I mean,
it may be a few minutes, but this is me summarizing.
All right.
And I'm sorry, Louisville fans who are actually true Louisville fans. Not the scum garbage that you see drinking shots out of a garbage bag.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
You're an idiot.
Pretty nasty.
And every fan base has idiots, but you're an idiot. Rick Pitino.
Oh, God.
You brought Kentucky back from death.
And then put death on Louisville.
You brought Kentucky back from death. What you did for my university that I love and support with all my heart, I'll forever be grateful. But you know what? Times have changed.
And he's changed.
That is 2 to 3 decades ago. Rick Pitino was a jerk fan. Anybody who was around the program will tell you Rick Pitino was a jerk fan.
Yeah, a jerk, but
you didn't have the coverage then like you do now. There's so much more exposure.
That's true. We could just not know everything.
So much more exposure now than what there was then. What you have done as far as bringing humiliation to your family, what you have done as far as bringing humiliation to your fan base, both wearing blue and red, everything from the Porcini scandal, everything from what you've done to media members, being a bully and forcing your way over them to where you couldn't be covered fairly. That's something John Calipari does not get in Lexington.
Right. No, he don't.
Absolutely not. Calipari is criticized far more than he's praised in Lexington by the media. And that's just that's a fact of life. Rick Pitino and Tom Juritz made sure that never happened in Louisville. What you did with those scandals, going through to the part of which you hired, while maybe you didn't necessarily know, that's debatable.
Debatable, very.
The prostitute and hooker scandal, which puts you in the greatest punishment as far as taking away accolades that any program has ever seen in NCAA history, to now spitting in the NCAA's face and conspiring to pay a player to come to your school through a shoe company. You, Rick Pitino, I'm not going to say that you're the worst, because you've not raped anybody, to my knowledge. You've not killed anybody, to my knowledge. Rapists and murderers are far worse than what you are. But as far as whenever it comes to any type of... child molesters, yes.
Sorry.
Whenever it comes to anything to do with sports, outside of Jerry Sandusky, you are the slimiest of the slimy, sir.
Speaking of child molesters.
You are just absolute slimy trash. The University of Kentucky deserves better to remember you by. The University of Louisville deserves better to remember by. It is sad poetic irony, as he said, You brought Kentucky from the brink of death, and you are leaving Louisville on the brink of death.
Yep.
Absolutely pathetic. You have went from someone who would be a legendary heroic figure in the state of Kentucky at two different programs.
And maybe one of the great coaches ever.
Yes, a top 10 to 15 coach of all time. You have went from being someone who would be perceived as a heroic figure in the state of Kentucky's lore with two different top 10 all-time programs in college basketball. You have now got it to where you will never be welcomed back by either program. Louisville.
He shouldn't be welcome to any program.
People are going to do people things.
Yeah, I know, but still.
But last night I debated with Doug Yantis about and Cecil Hall. We debated about if Rick Pitino would ever have anything after this, or if he would just disappear. And he's a great coach.
Okay,
he's a fantastic coach. He knows the game. This was before it come out today that he is coach too. A year or so from now, Rick Pitino wants a TV job. Rick Pitino gets a TV job. His name is Rick Pitino.
Right.
It does not matter what happened behind him. The fact that he would draw viewers and would know the game would be all it would take. Now I'm not sure. I don't know if Rick Pitino will ever have another job concerning college basketball again, and you deserve that.
Yeah, definitely. He shouldn't have another job in basketball. Even if you're a high school team, you shouldn't hire Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino, the last impression that you will ever have on a Rupp Arena crowd is giving us the finger. The last impression that college basketball is going to have on you is giving you the boot. And with that, I'm done.
So, if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook, The Bluegrass Sports Show, Twitter, Bluegrass Sport 2. As always, thank you for watching. Harry had a lot of fun with this video. He was pumped about it. Was you not?
As you can tell.
So anyway, guys, thank you. Have a great day.